It came from beyond our solar system, a mysterious wanderer streaking through the cosmic dark.
The moment 3I Atlas passed Mars, its emerald glow vanished, and NASA went silent. For months, telescopes around the world had watched the strange green object racing through space at incredible speed. Then, without warning, its light faded completely, leaving only darkness and confusion behind. No signal, no reflection, nothing. It was as if the visitor had chosen to disappear right when humanity was finally watching. Inside NASA, data streams froze as the agency's websites flickered offline during the shutdown. Was this silence just a coincidence, or the first sign that 3I Atlas was far more than a comet? When 3I Atlas made its closest approach, Earth was completely blind. From September to early November 2025, every major telescope on the planet was forced into silence. The object had moved directly behind the Sun from our point of view, entering what astronomers call a solar conjunction. That means the Sun's glare was so intense that any attempt to observe risked burning through sensitive optical sensors. Observatories in Hawaii, Chile, and South Africa all powered down. Even space-based telescopes like Hubble and Webb had to shift their instruments away to avoid permanent damage. It was one of the rarest coincidences in modern astronomy. At the exact moment an interstellar visitor entered our neighborhood, humanity's eyes were shut. The angular distance between the Sun and 3I Atlas dropped to less than 10 degrees, creating a perfect blind spot that lasted for nearly 6 weeks. During that period, no ground-based observatory could safely track it. Every attempt to capture a signal produced nothing but noise and light distortion. Scientists described it as a cosmic blackout, an event where technology and timing conspired against discovery. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, usually the heart of real-time tracking, went dark as the US government shutdown began. Internal teams still monitored spacecraft health, but no official data reached the public. Websites that normally published live ephemeris updates suddenly stopped refreshing. For the first time in decades, the world's most advanced space agency had no voice in an unfolding astronomical event. Across social media, speculation exploded. Some believed the silence was bureaucratic. Others claimed it was deliberate, a cover for something NASA couldn't explain. Meanwhile, amateur astronomers tried everything to catch a glimpse. From mountaintops to backyard telescopes, they pointed their lenses at the edge of dawn, hoping to find the faint emerald trace of the mysterious object. But the sun's light overwhelmed every attempt. One observer described it as trying to find a firefly next to a spotlight. As weeks passed, frustration turned into anxiety. The object was approaching Mars, and no one on Earth could see what it was doing. Scientists compared the situation to losing contact with a plane in flight. You know it's there, but you have no radar, no signal, no control. All anyone could do was calculate its path and wait. The combination of the sun's geometry and the government shutdown made this window of blindness absolute. Humanity had never been so dependent on another planet's view before. But as Earth went dark, another world came alive. Mars, positioned perfectly on the other side of the Sun, had a clear line of sight to 3I Atlas. Its orbiters and rovers would soon become the only witnesses to the most mysterious moment in interstellar history. While Earth was blind, Mars became humanity's only eye. From its orbit on the far side of the Sun, the red planet stood in perfect alignment to watch what no one on Earth could see. For the first time in history, every active spacecraft around Mars redirected its instruments toward a single target, the glowing interstellar traveler known as 3I Atlas. This was not just a coincidence. It became the most coordinated scientific effort ever carried out beyond Earth. The European Space Agency led the charge with 2 veteran orbiters. Mars Express, equipped with its powerful stereo camera and Omega spectrometer, began capturing high-resolution images across visible and infrared wavelengths. It recorded subtle changes in the color and brightness of 3I Atlas's coma, details that would later reveal strange patterns of gas and light. At the same time, the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter used its advanced spectrometers NOMAD and ACIS to split the object's light into thousands of tiny wavelength bands. Each band revealed clues about its chemical makeup, showing traces of compounds that don't normally exist in solar system comets. The United Arab Emirates HOPE mission joined next, bringing a wide-angle ultraviolet view. Originally designed to study the Martian atmosphere, its instruments proved surprisingly useful for tracking bright celestial bodies. HOPE's images captured the green glow flickering in intensity, almost like a heartbeat pulsing in the dark. It was faint but rhythmic, suggesting something inside the object was controlling its outbursts rather than reacting randomly to sunlight. Across the sky, China's Tianwen-1 orbiter added near-infrared data and contextual imagery. Although Beijing released only limited details, scientists confirmed that its instruments observed a stable structure within the glowing halo, unlike the chaotic dust tails seen in ordinary comets. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, NASA's long-serving satellite, provided one more layer of precision. Using its high-rise camera, it captured microscopic details of the coma's texture, while the CRISM spectrometer analyzed thermal changes. But when NASA's communication channels went silent during the shutdown, that stream of data stopped as abruptly as the object's light would later do. In just a few days, a new kind of observatory was born, not on Earth, but in orbit around another world. Mars had become the solar system's watchtower. Its combined fleet from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East formed a global collaboration unlike anything before. Scientists on 3 continents worked overnight, trading encrypted data packets through private networks while official websites remained dark. For those few weeks, Mars was our shared eye into the unknown. Its cameras caught what we could not, the shimmer of an object that didn't behave like anything natural. The data showed that 3I Atlas wasn't tumbling or spinning chaotically. Instead, it rotated with precision, emitting gases at timed intervals as though following an internal command. No one said it out loud, but every researcher felt it. Something about this visitor seemed intentional. And when one of Mars's surface rovers unexpectedly recorded a streak of light in the sky, that feeling turned into a question no one was ready to face. From Mars's orbit, 3I Atlas looked nothing like a normal comet. Its glow wasn't white or icy blue, but a deep emerald green that stretched across hundreds of thousands of miles. The color came from diatomic carbon, a gas that shines green when exposed to sunlight, but the intensity was unnatural. Even veteran astronomers said they had never seen anything like it. The coma, the cloud surrounding its core, measured nearly 700,000 miles wide, twice the distance between Earth and the Moon. It shimmered with layers that rippled outward as if the object were breathing. The most puzzling feature, though, was the tail. Instead of streaming away from the sun like every other comet, this one pointed straight toward it. Scientists called it an anti-tail, a formation made of larger, slower particles that usually appear only under rare geometric alignments. But this was different. The anti-tail of 3I Atlas stayed perfectly shaped even as solar winds shifted around it. It didn't twist or scatter like dust. It remained steady, like a beam being held in place. No natural comet could maintain that kind of order. Spectral analysis from the ExoMars and HOPE orbiters confirmed another oddity. Within the green haze were faint arcs and concentric shells, each reflecting light at slightly different angles. Instead of chaotic bursts, these layers formed in rhythm, expanding, pausing, and reforming with mathematical precision. Researchers suggested the layers were waves of gas being released from the surface, but they couldn't explain why the process repeated so evenly. It was as if the object had an internal clock, releasing energy on schedule. Chinese and European teams compared their readings and found matching pulses, synchronized within seconds of each other. That ruled out random outgassing. Something about this visitor operated with structure, not chance. Some scientists quietly speculated it might be rotating or adjusting itself, as though balancing its position relative to the Sun. But with NASA's silence and Earth's telescopes still offline, those theories spread without confirmation. The shape of 3I Atlas didn't help the debate. Images showed no clear nucleus, no solid core glowing at the center. Instead, light appeared to come from within the gas shell itself, like energy was being emitted rather than reflected. If true, it meant the source of the glow was not sunlight at all. It was something self-generated, something active. Astronomers who analyzed the images said it looked like a living system, one that pulsed and adapted as it moved closer to the Sun. Its symmetry was too perfect, its timing too exact. A few even suggested it might be hollow, with gases escaping from vents rather than surface cracks. The idea sounded far-fetched, yet no data could disprove it. Whatever 3I Atlas was, it broke every rule of comet physics. Its color, its anti-tail, its layered shell, and its precision all hinted at control, not chaos. So if it wasn't behaving like a natural body, the next question was simple. What kind of intelligence could be behind something that breathes light? The more scientists studied 3I Atlas, the more its motion defied logic. Unlike any interstellar object before it, this one seemed to move with purpose. Observations from Mars revealed that 3I Atlas was traveling at nearly 60 miles per second and still accelerating as it approached the Sun. Models suggested it would peak at around 68 miles per second, faster than most known comets. Yet despite this tremendous speed, its trajectory stayed almost perfectly flat, aligned with the same invisible plane where all major planets orbit. That simple fact shattered expectations. Interstellar visitors like Oumuamua or Borisov usually slice through our solar system at sharp angles, diving in from above or below the ecliptic before being flung back into the void. Their entries are chaotic and unpredictable because they come from random directions in space. But 3I Atlas didn't behave that way. It entered as if it already knew the map. The probability of such alignment occurring naturally was calculated at less than 0.2%, a near impossibility. Some astronomers tried to dismiss it as coincidence, but others began to whisper that maybe this was not an accident at all. Its movement was almost too clean. Most comets wobble, tumble, or drift as gravity tugs on their uneven surfaces. But 3I Atlas held its orientation, showing no visible spin or erratic movement. Even small gravitational influences from Mars and the Sun failed to knock it off its course. It was as if something inside it was actively correcting its direction, like an autopilot adjusting to invisible currents of space. To many scientists, it appeared self-stabilizing or worse, self-aware. When researchers analyzed its motion frame by frame, they noticed a repeating rhythm hidden in its velocity curve. Instead of slowing down as radiation and heat increased, it maintained an even pace, pulsing gently every few hours. The motion followed a pattern so consistent that it looked engineered rather than random. It was as though an internal mechanism was regulating thrust, pushing against the pull of gravity with perfect balance. Speculation exploded. Some proposed that 3I Atlas's core might contain metallic elements or magnetic materials that responded to solar radiation, creating propulsion-like effects. Others theorized that its layered shell acted as a natural stabilizer, absorbing heat and redirecting pressure like the fins of a spacecraft. A few even suggested that the object was hollow, using trapped gas to maneuver in ways that mimicked control. None of these explanations fit comfortably within the rules of physics as we understand them, but they filled a silence that NASA refused to break. The lack of official data made every observation feel more urgent. Without updates from Earth, the world depended entirely on Mars's instruments. Every new reading sparked new theories. Some believed 3I Atlas was a natural formation behaving in ways we didn't yet understand. Others insisted it was evidence of design a probe, a remnant, or a message disguised as a rock. What united all theories was disbelief. No one had ever seen a body move through the inner solar system with such stability, precision, and resistance to natural forces. Whatever powered 3I Atlas, it wasn't a chance. Its flight path was deliberate, its rhythm exact, and its purpose still unknown. As it drew closer to the Sun, one question began to echo among astronomers and the public alike. If 3I Atlas wasn't following the laws of nature, whose laws was it following? On September 25, 2025, the Sun released a violent burst of energy, a coronal mass ejection racing outward at over 1,000,000 miles per hour. The wave of plasma and magnetic fields moved straight toward 3I Atlas. Every scientist who tracked the eruption believed the interstellar object was about to be torn apart. Normally, when a CME hits a comet, the result is dramatic. The tail whips away, the gas brightens, and the fragile core fractures from thermal stress. But this time, nothing followed the rules. When the storm reached 3I Atlas, it should have exploded in light. Instead, it remained perfectly calm. Mars orbiters detected no spike in radiation, no sudden outgassing, and no shift in trajectory. The object's emerald coma stayed intact, its anti-tail still facing the Sun like a mirror. Instruments aboard the ExoMars TGO showed that its temperature barely changed. Even as charged particles struck its atmosphere, the reading stayed steady, as if the energy was being absorbed or redirected. For hours, researchers waited for a delayed reaction, a bright flare, a breakup, any sign that the CME had made an impact. None came. The object acted as if the storm had never happened. Scientists were stunned. Some called it an impossible response. The Sun had just hurled billions of tons of plasma, yet 3I Atlas shrugged it off without a scar. That level of resilience didn't fit any known category of natural behavior. Theories flooded in. One group suggested the outer layer might contain metallic compounds that dispersed energy like a shield. Others proposed that the object's magnetic field was strong enough to deflect solar particles, creating a kind of natural armor. But that explanation raised new questions. How could an interstellar rock generate such a stable magnetic field? Where would it even get the energy to maintain it? Spectral scans offered another clue. During the CME event, faint emissions of nickel and carbon monoxide appeared briefly, both substances that can absorb heat and reflect radiation. The balance between them was so precise that it looked engineered. Each emission faded at the same rate, implying the material was releasing energy in a controlled pattern, not randomly. To many observers, it felt like the object had responded intelligently, as though it sensed the solar storm and adjusted itself to survive. After the data came in, the silence from NASA grew louder. Normally, an anomaly like this would be followed by urgent briefings and analysis reports. This time, nothing was released. Scientists outside the agency were left to compare public data and speculate in online forums. Some concluded that 3I Atlas might not be reacting to the Sun at all, but to observation itself as if being watched triggered it to adapt. The idea was unsettling, but impossible to ignore. If the object could withstand the most violent force in the solar system without breaking apart, what else was it capable of? And if it could sense the storm before it arrived, then maybe it wasn't just surviving. Maybe it was learning. On October 2, 2025, something extraordinary happened on Mars. During a routine sky survey in Jezero crater, NASA's Perseverance rover captured a faint streak of light moving across the Martian sky. The exposure lasted just 9 minutes, but those 9 minutes may have changed everything we know about interstellar observation. What made it remarkable was that the streak perfectly matched the projected trajectory of 3I Atlas at the exact time it was expected to pass near Mars. At first, the team thought it was a camera glitch or cosmic ray interference, but after calibration, every frame showed the same steady motion across the stars. It wasn't a reflection, and it wasn't a meteor. The object moved too slowly for debris and too consistently for lens error. The images revealed a narrow beam of light, faint yet precise, cutting through the thin Martian atmosphere. When engineers ran the data through NASA's SPICE coordinate system, the streak's angle aligned perfectly with the predicted orbital path of 3I Atlas. That alignment within a few arcseconds was almost impossible to fake. It was the first time in human history that an interstellar object had been captured from the surface of another planet. The Perseverance cameras weren't built for deep space tracking. They were meant to study rocks and dust, not visitors from beyond the stars. But on that night, their lenses became our only window into a mystery no telescope on Earth could see. The rover's log showed no abnormal radiation or hardware faults, which ruled out system malfunction. The light was real and it was moving with intention. Scientists spent weeks verifying the data, stripping out every possible error. They compared timestamps with Martian local time, exposure settings, and atmospheric scattering. The pattern held. The brightness varied slightly, pulsing every few seconds, echoing the same rhythmic behavior that orbiters had already detected in 3I Atlas's green glow. The match was undeniable. It was as if the rover had witnessed the object, signaling a brief flicker seen only by a machine millions of miles from Earth. When the images were released internally, silence filled the mission control room. Some engineers stared at the data, whispering that the streak seemed almost deliberate, like a trace drawn across the stars. Others dismissed it as coincidence, but the timing made that argument fragile. NASA had gone quiet publicly, but inside, no one could stop asking what the rover had actually seen. Independent researchers from the European Space Agency later confirmed that Perseverance's observation lined up with their own orbital telemetry from the same night. The synchronization between ground and orbit proved that the light wasn't an illusion. Something was there, moving exactly as 3I Atlas should have been, but with an unusual steadiness, as if guided. For a brief moment, humanity's vision extended beyond one planet. From a lonely robot in Jezero crater, we looked up and caught a visitor from another star passing silently through our solar system. The discovery sparked a new question that no data could answer. Was 3I Atlas simply passing by, or had it noticed that we were watching? Just days after the Perseverance rover captured the light streak in Jezero crater, the glow of 3I Atlas vanished. The object that had shone like an emerald beacon across space went completely dark. Every instrument that had been tracking it from the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter to NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter registered the same thing: a sudden drop to zero in visible light emissions. There was no explosion, no debris, and no fading trail. It was as if someone had flipped a switch, extinguishing the brightest mystery in the solar system. Scientists on Mars watched in disbelief. The ExoMars spectrometer, which had been recording faint green signatures from diatomic carbon, stopped receiving any signal. The readings went flat, the spectral lines dissolved into silence and the telemetry froze mid-transmission. Mars Express confirmed the same result. The green halo that had once surrounded the object had collapsed, leaving behind only darkness. The last data packet showed a faint pulse, a single heartbeat of light before everything went black. When researchers compared data from multiple spacecraft, the timeline was identical. The fade began within minutes of 3I Atlas passing Mars's orbital distance, right as it began moving deeper toward the Sun. Yet, instead of flaring brighter under solar radiation, it did the opposite. It dimmed, cooled, and then disappeared. According to the European Space Agency, that behavior contradicted every known model of cometary physics. Under normal conditions, increasing sunlight should have triggered massive outgassing, forming a bright, expanding tail. But 3I Atlas broke that rule. It acted with intent or restraint. The silence didn't stop at Mars. On Earth, observatories waiting for the object to reappear after solar conjunction received nothing. When the Sun shifted and the safe viewing window reopened, 3I Atlas was gone. No reflected light, no residual gas cloud, no trace of a disintegrated body. It had simply vanished from every wavelength. NASA's tracking portals, once filled with live data, went offline during the same period due to the ongoing government shutdown. For the first time, scientists couldn't tell whether the blackout was caused by technical failure or something far stranger. ESA and the UAE's HOPE probe both declined to issue official comments. China's Tianwen-1 mission, which had contributed early data, went silent as well. In online forums, amateur astronomers speculated that the agencies had been ordered to withhold information until the event could be explained. Some suggested that the object might have shifted to a non-reflective state, using materials capable of absorbing light entirely. Others floated an even more unsettling theory that it had turned off its visible emissions on purpose. For now, the only certainty is the moment of its disappearance. Every frame of data ends the same way: total darkness. The green light that had stretched across millions of miles vanished without leaving a trace of dust or gas. Whatever 3I Atlas was, it didn't die. It simply stopped being seen. Across space agencies, one question began to circulate quietly, never spoken in public reports. Did the object truly vanish, or did it choose to hide? 3I Atlas entered our solar system, shining like a signal and left in total silence. It broke the laws of physics, vanished before our eyes, and left every space agency without an answer. Some say it was just a comet behaving strangely. Others believe it was something watching us, waiting for the right moment to disappear. NASA's silence only deepened the mystery, reminding us how little we understand about the visitors that cross our cosmic path. If 3I Atlas could shut off its light at will, is it truly gone, or simply waiting for us to look again? Share your thoughts below. What do you believe happened? Tell us what you believe in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more mysteries hidden among the stars.